Could the Miami Heat make a trade with the Utah Jazz, not for Lauri Markkanen, but for Collin Sexton? I am Nick Roloff. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. That is the topic of today's show, as we did get a, idea from Bleacher Report that I wanted to address on the channel. But make sure you do join us tomorrow, Friday afternoon. I will be live on the Heat Report, breaking down the latest news, rumors, trade information, draft news as well, surrounding our Miami Heat, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Central Time. So join me as we are going to talk a lot about the Heat as we are under a week away from the NBA Draft. All right, let's get into Collin Sexton now, because Bleacher Report did suggest a trade where the Heat acquired the former Alabama Crimson Tide guard, who has been past couple of years with the Utah Jazz after being traded from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, we're going to talk about this trade more in depth, but I wanted to showcase the trade that they suggested first. Initially, this is what it is. The Heat get Collin Sexton. They deal away Duncan Robinson, a 2024 first-round pick, a.k.a. the 15th overall selection, and then the 2026 second-round pick they have from the Lakers. I have thoughts on this package later on in the show, so stick around. But let's talk about what Bleacher Report had to say, and then the player that is Collin Sexton. BR, a.k.a. Zach Buckley, said that the Heat could use more perimeter punch and a downhill force. His perpetually full-throttle motor would be an easy #culture fit, and he could provide the second team with the scoring boost it lost upon Tyler Herro's promotion to the starting lineup. And I'll say this, I've always been a fan of Collin Sexton. There was rumors about the Heat potentially acquiring him a couple of years ago before he did have that 4-year deal with the Utah Jazz where he was traded there as well. I've always been a fan of him. He's been a dog. He's got that mentality that does fit with the Heat culture. I always go back to when he was in college, Alabama, Minnesota, when Alabama, they had a entire bench get kicked out of the game. So they're playing with 5 guys, where it's 5-on-5, but they have no bench. Then someone gets hurt, so it's 5-on-4. Then someone fouls out, it's 5-on-3. Collin Sexton goes for 40+ in this game, while he legitimately was playing 3-on-5. He is an absolute dog, and he can score the basketball at a pretty solid clip as well in the NBA. He's averaged as much as 24 points per game in the past with the Cleveland Cavaliers, but last year in Utah, he had 18.7, and he's relatively efficient too. Decent volume, and that's how he got most of his buckets, but if he's shooting 39% and 48% from the field, you're not going to complain about that efficiency when he's taking a little bit more of volume shots. I'm a big fan of his game. He can score at all 3 levels, get to the rim, and he also is a two-way guard, if you will, which we'll talk more about later on in the show as well. But let me know, are you interested in a Collin Sexton trade? Type Y for yes or type N for no. He's been linked to the Heat before. I would be interested in making a deal with the Utah Jazz for Collin Sexton. The Heat need more shot creation in their backcourt. Herro and Rozier have not played together enough, and they're both making $24+ million respectively this upcoming year. Could the Heat make a deal, including one of them or other pieces, to acquire Sexton and then deal one of Rozier and Herro away? Sexton, who has averaged 24 points per game in the past, averaged 18 last year on 48% shooting and 39% from deep. Wouldn't cost that much. 2 years left on his contract. Pat Riley, going to make a deal? I'm interested. And the reason why I like what Collin Sexton could bring to the table is because how efficient he can score, as we've noted throughout this video, but also the way he does it. He is a proficient three-point scorer who also likes to attack the rim as well. This is his shot chart from the past season, where he also did play 78 games, so he is a durable player as well. He did miss 1 year, but for the most part, he is durable. Dark blue is good. So the darker blue is the best, light blue bad. So he does struggle a little bit from just inside the free throw line when he takes shots there, but he doesn't go there often. He likes to go to the rim, and he likes to take the 3 ball. And when you take a deeper look at his numbers in comparison to the league average, they stand out, right? He's not the best from 2 areas, the right corner 3 and the top of the key 3. For whatever reason, he can't make a top-of-the-key three, which is usually the easiest three-point shot in the game. He shoots below league average there. But from the right wing, the left wing, and left corner, he is significantly above league average, damn near 5% better in every single department, including a left corner three, where he's 9% better than league average, and 8% better on the left wing. So he's a clear-cut, dominant three-point shooter from the left side of the court. And he's also a good finisher in the restricted area at the rim, shooting 1% less than league average. So he's an average to above average shooter in terms of efficiency-wise in the NBA. But the part that I like most about Collin Sexton is not what he can bring to the offensive side of the floor. But he would be your best two-way guard, at least in terms of defense, that you have on your roster. Sure, you have a better pure guard defender on your team, or you did in DeLon Wright, but not being able to give you the offense and defense Sexton can. Like, that's the only knock on Herro and Rozier, is that, sure, they are fun offensively, they can hit their shots, Rozier can create for himself in isolation settings, but they are not an average to an above average defender. Collin Sexton is, and he would immediately become the best two-way guard on your team, which is what makes him so intriguing to pair with Jimmy and Bam. Now, I don't think Sexton could be a third option, but as the fourth option on a team, that is something that I could absolutely get behind. And we're going to talk more about this trade and go back to the actual suggested trade Bleacher Report had. But make sure you get your Miami Heat draft hats right now. They have all different types of styles: snapback, flat brim, curved brim. Whoever the Heat take at 15, if they do make a pick, which it kind of feels like they're gonna, unless they strike a deal in the next 4 or 5 days, is going to be repping that hat right there. So get it yours today. chatsports.com/HeatDraftHats. Link is going to be in the description and comments of today's video. The biggest question surrounding a potential Collin Sexton trade is, what would the Heat have to give up to acquire Sexton and get him into Miami? Well, let's revisit the trade that Bleacher Report suggested, because I honestly don't know if I'm completely behind the value here. The Heat were, in this deal, giving up Duncan Robinson, which makes sense from a pure salary perspective. Sexton's making $18 million this year, $19 million the next year, so he's only got 2 years left on his contract. Duncan's got 2 years left as well, basically the same exact deal. But the Heat also have to give up the 15th overall pick in the 2020 second round pick they have via the Los Angeles Lakers, and to me that might be a little too much, which is what I'm going to tell you more about here in a second. But let me know, would you do this trade? After hearing about the player, we asked if you were interested in him, but seeing the full macro of Sexton's game, and then seeing what Bleacher Report suggested as a trade, would you do it? Type A for accept or type D for decline. As much as I've raved over Collin Sexton this entire video and how he would impact the Miami Heat, I'm simply not doing that trade. Why, you might ask? Well, Duncan Robinson is a valued member of this team, but you're also giving up a first-round pick and a second-round pick. Like, I like Sexton. Not worth what the Heat are giving up here. And I also want to point out that if you were to do that trade, you'd have a 3-guard rotation of Sexton, Rozier, and Herro. Like, I don't think those three should be on the same team. So if you were to swing this to me and be like, yeah, we're going to trade that package for Collin Sexton, but then deal Tyler Herro away to a different team, or deal Terry Rozier away to a different team and get draft capital from that squad, or get a couple wing players that can fill out your rotation, sure, then I'm fine swapping Rozier or Herro for Sexton, because like I said, I don't think the offensive numbers are going to decrease. Like, he can create the same as Rozier and Herro in my opinion, but he also gives you a little bit more defensive purpose, which is something that the Heat could always look for, as they struggled with their point of attack defense. And one last thing before we get out of here, like, if the Heat were open to making a deal for Collin Sexton and wanted to keep Duncan as a bench piece and shooter that can space the floor and connect this team, well, why couldn't you just trade Tyler Herro for Sexton? Herro's got 3 years left on his deal. Sexton's got 2. The Jazz have always had a liking towards Tyler Herro, and you'd also be able to cut $10 million off your salary. Herro makes 29, Sexton makes 18. It works. The Jazz can take it in. You free up $10 million, which means you can maybe keep Haywood Highsmith or Caleb Martin. To me, if the Heat were going to make a deal for Sexton, I would trade Herro or Rozier, save the $5 to $10 million in cap space, and you likely wouldn't have to send a first-round pick, maybe just attach a second-round pick in the future to Herro to get Sexton. That feels like a better idea to me. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Make sure you are subscribed for daily videos like this. But like I said, we're also going to be live on the channel tomorrow, breaking down news, rumors surrounding Miami. First ever weekly live show, so don't disappoint me. Let's show out on a Friday, so hopefully I'll see you there.